question, Nate. I got a question. You were talking about the squibs. They're saying that each of those floors in the World Trade Towers was about an acre square, or an acre's worth of area, and it held so many cubic feet of air. So as floors are crushing down on each other, it's forcing the air that's existing in that 1 acre room out. And that's these you conspiracy theory guys. You don't get that. You don't get that.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Screwloosechange.blogspot, whatever.
Well, if that was the case, then we'd see them on all sides of the buildings, on all floors, and they would not be uniform in texture.
If YouTube is your friend on this topic, watch some of these building collapses, and when they're talking about the squibs, right below the levels of destruction, small white puffs that seem to come out of the windows, different areas of the building. Watch some other professional demolition videos. You'll see nearly the exact same thing, if not the exact same thing. In the instances where you don't see a flash from an actual severing or a charge detonation, you will see simply just a small white puff of smoke. Look at some purposeful demolitions in Las Vegas. Because a lot of those videos get up close and personal with some of these buildings that are coming down to make new room for casinos, and you will see the exact action with these squibs, white puffs of smoke that you see occurred in the towers. And they're explained away with the air pressure, with the floors coming down on top of each other, so thus the floor underneath, the air pressure busting out. But we're talking about thick gray puffs of smoke shooting out sideways. Right. Fire or not, there's two different colors.
The video I saw, the crumbling floors was probably around the 60th floor, and I was seeing squibs coming from like the 20th floor.
Yeah.
And I was saying that there's no way that the air pressure had even reached that point to where it would be forcing the air out.
Which real quick brings us to the next question. How did they get all that stuff in there? Well, real brief, folks. They had an unprecedented power down for the World Trade Centers, which meant that they had to shut off all the world's biggest banking servers. They gave them 3 weeks notice. They removed the bomb-sniffing dogs. They removed the security and the visitor sign-in the weekend before, and people with large reels of equipment were allowed to come freely in and out of the buildings as they pleased the weekend before 9/11. And large things were heard moved around the building.
All right, Chris, we're going to touch on that when we come back from break. Well, we left off with how they got the incendiary devices in there. We'll talk about that when we come back. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to have some, anybody who wants to do some human nature with, it's going to get on somebody's mind. All right, we're back, people. We left, before we went to break, we were talking about how the explosives got in and by what devices that could have occurred. Chris, we left off with you.
Yeah. And I'm really not going to touch on too much more of the details, because the details of what went on that day are just overwhelming, including the fact that the head of Securicom, which handled the security for Dulles Airport and for the World Trade Center, was Securicom, and the CEO the year before was George Bush's brother, Marvin Bush. Okay, now to get into how all of these things happen, people think that everyone would have known about it, but no, the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing in military operations. People are given little jobs to do here and there. They don't see the connection between the pieces. The media is not seeing the connection between the pieces. You can see movies like Core of Corruption that show the news clips that actually, they show all the little pieces, and if you put together all the clips they put out, all the information is right there. So now what we'd like to do is redirect you to some important resources where you can find some of the information that we've seen and judge for yourself whether you find it's credible, whether you think what we've read has an impact on your life and how you view the world and how 9/11's affected it.
Okay. Well, time is short here, so yeah, we do have to do what Chris recommended. I'd like to recommend some resources. Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, which was started by Richard Gage, has 700, at least, probably more, signers on the petition. AE911truth.org. 9/11 Mysteries is a documentary you should check out. Loose Change, which actually has a new version coming out this September 22nd. A lot of people don't know about that. And the score, the original score, is being done by a friend of mine from Rhode Island, so make sure to look into that. It's going to be called Loose Change, an American Coup. Core of Corruption by Jonathan Elinoff of We Are Change Colorado is an excellent resource. Infowars.com, prisonplanet.com. Pilots question 9/11, firefighters for 9/11 Truth, Patriots. It's just look into the issue. Is basically there is an endless amount of resources. Look up the 9/11 timeline. Please look into an issue that has affected the fate of our country, and many people have lost their lives based on the official government lies, and we need to stop this. We need to wake up, because until we wake up to false flag terrorism as a government op, we can't stop it. And 9/11 Truth is the only way to truly end the war and fix the economy.
Absolutely. Now, don't forget.
WeAreChange.org. WeAreChange.org. Rhode-IslandChange.org. We're going to keep doing our job, keep representing the people, trying to do the job the media refuses to do. And I want to give everybody a few final words here. Thank you, Nostalgia. Thank you, We the People, for having us. Sorry we couldn't have more time to explain it all fully, but Mike.
Yeah, there are so many issues other than 9/11 that we could talk about, but 9/11 is the crux of the matter, because they're using that to take away all of our freedoms in this country and all over the world. They always say, oh, things changed after 9/11. You have to do this at the airport. You have to do this in the train. They're putting bomb-sniffing dogs in the train. You're going to have an ID to go everywhere now. It's getting ridiculous. And I can't understand why people aren't marching on Washington yet. All the stuff that they're doing to us. It's crazy. It's got to be the fluoride they put in the water, I guess. I don't know. Because, oh yeah, I don't understand it. The people in Iran protest and stuff, but here we sit on our behinds and do absolutely nothing and watch baseball.
At the risk of getting their heads cut off.
Yeah, watch baseball. And
We got
football and
500
hockey.
channels of crap to distract us,
There's
and
nothing
that's why.
on, you know.
How
I
could
just-
we march how could a bunch of people pull off a conspiracy this large and not one of them, the guilt would overwhelm them? One person at least would come forward. Just a couple quick examples. Think about the CIA. Mass numbers of men who go overseas, pull off these giant operations, who are instructed and conditioned until the day they die, they're never going to breathe a word. We still don't know what's going on with JFK, and some of the people involved in that assassination are still alive. So it is quite possible to keep a large number of especially government-employed people quiet. If you want a close-to-home example, think about the Providence Police Department and how they manipulate crime statistics. That takes the entire police department, the entire judicial system, and some of the media involved. And it was not an inside person who came out and said anything. It was an outside person. So is it possible to keep all these people quiet? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, everything has changed since 9/11, and frankly, I don't see how we can get on with matters without putting this thing to rest and figuring out what happened first.
Yeah, so people, if you don't have a football game or a baseball game to watch, go out there and look something up about 9/11. And people have blown the whistle. And all these intelligent radio hosts, your Rush Limbaughs, your Mark Levins, when you want to bring up a topic like 9/11 Truth, they're men who claim they can get into intelligent debates about anything. And when you bring up 9/11 Truth, all they want to do is assign labels like left-wing nuts and wackos and conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hat wearing and UFOs. And they want to assign labels that are absolutely felonious to the message that we're trying to bring. And when true people, like Colonel Don de Grand Prix, he's the one who said that he gave the orders to shoot down Flight 93 over Pennsylvania. Where's his testimony? Why haven't we heard about that on the news? Major Rick Gibney, who flew the plane, you know, an honorable military man who thought he was on a just mission, and he's the one who shot down the plane. So there you go, folks. 9/11 Truth, investigate it.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thanks to Raise Your Freedom around the table, 9/11. We Are Change, Rhode-IslandChange.org, and all the other stuff that they gave you. Thanks a lot.
This concludes this program broadcast. We the People, a freedom of speech television show. Go to www.wethepeopleofri.org.